So the last lecture I'm talking about efficiency and equity plus the taxation and the redistribution plus behavioral economics because each of those are just a very short brief introduction. So let's begin. How to trade off efficiency and equity in a society. The the first concept is choosing the society optimal allocation. The social welfare function can be thought of as an utility function of society, taking individual utilities as inputs. That means total social welfare function is F, and just put utility one, utility two to utility the last person in this society. That is social welfare function. The I social welfare curve shows the distribution of utility across with socials is indifferent. Okay, so the utility SWF equals to utility 1 plus utility 2 plus and the Rosian SWF. Just try to find the minimum of this function. Inequality in the US and around the world. The rate of absolute deprivation matters, and we measure that by poverty line, and inevitably, if we want to boost the social equity, we have to sacrifice efficiency. So that is sources of leakage. The transfer program lead to decrease in labor supply, especially among those who qualify or are originally near the cutoff to receive the subsidy. Distortionary taxation leads to deadweight loss. This is the cost of distribution. Yeah, you need to sacrifice something in order to get more equity. To know what's the key concept here, it's explain what different social welfare functions imply about optimal allocations. Intuitively describe this efficiency cost of distribution. Show in consumption ledger graph how taxes on labor income could affect labor supply. Then in a labor market graph, show the deadweight loss of putting taxes on labor income. Do simple calculations to determine welfare under different SWF. Next part is taxation and redistribution. The taxation in the US. Different types of taxation in the US are uh, have 5 types of tax: income tax, payroll tax, which is VAT, consumption tax, and property tax, wealth, corporate tax. The taxation in the US is importance of targeting assistance programs because it's literally tax to those wealthy people to compensate those poor people or just redistribution the in a small range of the wealthy. Earned income tax credits EFTC is a wage subsidy program that balances targeting and efficiency. That means if you are poor, you and as you retire, you can get more money of the wage you used to be. Like Gates maybe just got 40% of the subsidy as he retired, but the poor person can got 90%. This is called earned income tax credits. And the to know is to identify whether a particular tax is progressive, place, flat, or regressive. Next part is externality. An externality occurs whenever the actions of one party make another party worse or better. Yet the first party neither bears the costs nor receives the benefits of doing so. There are negative externalities, which is negative impacts on society, which the individual does not pay for, must abide by two conditions. First is cost on others, not self. Cost costs that the individual doesn't pay for. For example, smoking or drinking. Individuals tend to overconsume these as they do not bear all of the costs. Society wants individuals to internalize the externality. Price of the goods includes the cost of the goods to society. The government solution. Government has its regulation. If the government knows what the socially optimal outcome is, the government can just impose it. And the government can impose a corrective tax of the magnitude of this externality. As a result, the tax effectively internalize the externality and leads to the society optimal outcome. To know is conceptual understanding. Describe what externality is, describe example and impacts of negative externality. Describe ways how government deals with externality. Okay, let's all about externalities. What's impact and the government solution. The final part is behavioral economics. Key of behavioral economics is bring psychological insights into our model to enrich them. Tie inconsistency of our self-control model. Individuals are unable to carry out their optimal consumption plans. And here is a formula, exponential discounting. Your total utility is the utility C1, that is your consumption right now, today. And mm, and the rest of it is the totally utility CI. CI equals 2 to T. And it means each day your consumption aggregate to add each day of your consumption, except the first day. And you need to tie the discount variable because in the future, your utility of those consumption have a discount effect. The hyperbolic discounting is more close to our daily life. It's the utility equals to your utility C1 right now, and the and yeah, the same, but plus the beta. What is beta? Beta is also a discount. Just beta is a scale. If the scale is larger, beta is just a time between times, like in the first day and the second day, or compared to the second day to the third day. That's all the beta does. So by we need to calculate this because in our exponential discounting function, the choose of first day today and tomorrow, or the tomorrow and the third day are will fall into the same. But in fact, we feel like we care about today more. Okay, so we introduce a new variable beta to describe this phenomenon. In response, policies include information, taxation, regulation, supply nudges. Nudges. What is nudge? Is to let people do something. It's called nudges. Okay. So what to know? Write out exponential discounting model and the hyperbolic discounting model. Contrast the models and explain what behavioral economics study and some important models like risk aversion, endowment effect, or something like that. Risk, especially the risk aversion is very popular concept. Or explain how corrective taxes can address tight inconsistency. Maybe just you need to erect um you need to erect uh, a commitment device in order to achieve a certain goal. You may lose motivation, so you need to ensure you achieve that goal effectively. You need to erect a commitment device. Something like those game theory concepts, but more. Okay, so that is how behavioral economics works. They took how people think about how people feel about things into control, and um in most of time humans are not very rationally. They care about feelings. They don't make decisions, only calculate their utility and something. So you need to take those factors, variables into account in order to predict how people do make decisions more accurately in our society, in our real world. So that's all about microeconomics. We talk about supply demand, um, and the competition market, monopoly, oligopoly markets, and social welfare economics, consumer surplus, and the producer surplus. And we also talk about labor input market, labor market, capital market, and those we care about more is make decision uncertainty, or in our society, how to trade off efficiency and the equality, plus those tax problem, redistribution problem, externality problems, and the last is behavioral economics, how people think, normative economics, how people truly take actions, by what function you need to take those psychology inside aspect into account. So that's all about microeconomics. Thank you for listening right now, and I hope in the future I will record those macroeconomics concepts video. Pro- so that's it. Thank you for listening. See you next time.